Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 727 Southwest Florence Avenue here in Gresham. We're located at the front of the home, or I guess we're at the front right corner of the house. It's technically on the right side of the home by the AC unit. We have a 3-inch ABS cleanout here as our point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Here we go. And we'll take a look at this spot on the way back out when the line's all drained out. There might be some debris in the flow line. Could be excess pipe glue, could be a couple different things there. It doesn't look terribly significant, whatever it is. Alright, coming up to some standing water here. This might be a transition point between two different types of pipe. Yep, and we are at a transition there. Switches over to, looks like 6-inch concrete pipe here at 40 feet. It's a fairly common thing to see at transition points. We'll see how that drains out here at the end. You know, when you've only got, usually what you end up with is about 6 inches to a foot of pipe at the transition, where you get standing water. It's actually quite a common thing. That section there was looking a bit longer than that though. So, and where I typically recommend repairs, when you have at least 5 feet of pipe with at least 1 inch of standing water, or more static without any water running. So anyway, we'll take a look at that. If you've got a section of pipe though that's completely full of water, you don't have to have nearly as much footage of that belly before it can become a problem. Alrighty, here at 59 feet we have reached the main lateral connection. I'm going to do locates to verify where the line terminates at. And then we'll let the pipe drain out completely and we'll take a good look at that belly and one other item on the way back in. Alright, located the camera head successfully out on the main at Southwest Florence Avenue. Looks like we're pretty much all drained out here. We're going to go ahead and start rolling the camera back in. Alright, we're back to the transition point here. Now we got a little bit of standing water right after the transition. You can see that down there. It's very, very minimal. It's like 1/4 of an inch or less, if even 1/4 of an inch. Not a concerning issue there. This spot here, however, we're going to kind of measure this here for a second. You can see the difference here, just the amount of stuff that's getting caught up in that. Now, based on the amount of debris that's in the line, it does not appear that this line has ever had a backup. Generally, like you see right here at the top of the pipe, right at the belly, you'll see all that junk collected up there. That's typically what a line will look like if it's had a backup in the past. You'll get a bunch of debris stuck to the top of the pipe where it otherwise would not normally get there. At 4 feet of pipe there, though, with when it's completely full like this, it's a troublesome spot where debris can get hung up and turn into a clog and a backup. So for that reason, we've got, looks like it starts here right at 36 feet. It's about a 4-foot section of pipe. It can be lived with, so keep that in mind, but whenever you've got this much water in the line, for even 4 feet is all. You can see how the line has had trouble draining out here. You got all that stuff stuck to the top of the pipe. All it takes is 1 or 2 big wads of toilet paper or someone accidentally putting some paper towels down the line, and that stuff will get hung up here very, very easily. So for that reason, I am going to recommend a spot repair to correct this. If a repair is not done, what I recommend doing, and at this point, there's a minimal enough debris in the line here that you wouldn't necessarily need to do a jet on the line. I'm not seeing any massive solid blockages or buildup here. We do have debris in and amongst the belly, but you can see how it's fairly loose at this point. But I recommend re-scoping the line in a year to see how the line's handling your living habits. Every household lives differently. Some households have 2 people, some have 4 or 5. So it's got to scope these things, assuming a whole bunch of people are going to live in the house. Now I'm going to map this out for repair. I'll mark there'll be a white X at each end of the repair site, and I'll mention the depth and location of that here in just a moment. Alright, I've got this located here. I'm picking up the camera head just before the sidewalk. If you're looking at the front of the house from the street, the line ends up coming out kind of over near the right side property line, and the repair here is just prior to the sidewalk. What's a little odd is I'm getting about 7 feet 8 inches deep right here, and I'm getting about 9 feet 10 inches deep at 40 feet at only 4 feet later. So and generally, if you have that going on, you've got a hard dive, and we don't have any of that, obviously, because we have a whole bunch of standing water. So anyway, use some caution when digging. I'm not entirely sure why that depth is changing that much, but both signals are coming in pretty darn clear. So it's either going to be around 7.5 feet or around 10 feet deep. And I would assume it's going to be on the deeper end of that. It's the way that this property is set up here, it's got a very hard slope towards the front of the house. Where I'm at right now versus the street, I mean, it's probably a solid 6 to 8 feet of ground or of rise as you go up towards the road. So use some caution. You could also call for locates to see if they come up with anything different there, but I located that a few different times, and I'm getting the exact same depths over and over again. Now, I do recommend a spot repair here to correct this due to the fact we've got a 4-foot section of pipe that extends from 36 feet to 40 feet, and it's completely full of water. We've got 3 inches of standing water in that spot there. I think we're going to have to reel the camera out real quick here and clean the lens off. While I'm at it here, it's heading over towards, again, the front right corner of the property. Now we're going to run the camera back out here so we can check that last bit of pipe. Now, if you are going to live with the belly, make sure the only thing going down your sewer line is folded toilet paper, no paper towels, wipes, flushable wipes, anything of the sort, just folded toilet paper. As for the kitchen sink, all this stuff we see collected here, all this tan stuff, is grease or cooking oil. You really want to avoid that stuff. If you get, and the reason my camera lens got all gunked up is it hit a bunch of grease in there and put a skip of oil across the lens. The combination of grease buildup and items that shouldn't be going down the line, even toilet paper, it can cause a lot of stuff to stick. So if you're going to live with the belly, just make sure you're not putting any cooking oil down the sink. You can still put food down the disposal. You just want to avoid anything that's got a lot of fat and grease and oil in it. Alright, back out to the belly here. We're going to go ahead and reel back in now. This was that spot we went past a little bit ago. I think there's just a little bit of excess pipe glue there in the flow lines. Nothing Not a big deal at all. It caused a little bit of grease to collect right at that spot, which my camera has removed at this point. We're going to go ahead and reel the camera out of the line. I recommend a spot repair from 36 feet to 40 feet to correct the belly. If you don't do a repair, make sure you get it rescoped in a year. Keep an eye on it. Make sure you're not getting any major debris buildup that needs to be cleaned out of there. Aside from that spot, though, the rest of the line's in good condition, has good flow, and is functioning properly at this time. If you do a spot repair, please make sure you do a rescope. That belly, I can pretty much guarantee you, it probably was installed that way. Now, a lot of these issues happen at the time of installation, so you want to make sure, all said and done, you don't have a belly there left over. That's, again, marked at the front right corner of the property, just before the sidewalk with white paint. Got to exit each end. And again, use some caution or call for locates. I'm getting 7 feet 8 inches deep at the beginning of the belly and 9 foot 10 at the end of the belly, about 4 feet later. So there's something there that's causing a discrepancy in the depth. So use some caution if you're digging.